All right. Salute to my guys. Hey, you know what
Yeah,
I'm
that was
saying?
fun.
I wanna try what he's doing. I want to sit back and watch a show, and participate,
Mm.
and see how that go. I would love to do that. I've been here. I'm like Tom Brady. I've been here on every show, man.
He
I'm
said,
like
I'm
Peyton
like Tom
Manning. I've
Brady.
been here. I've been here. I've been healthy. Salute
I
to
ain't
me.
been.
But look, we're gonna move on to the college game. Yeah, this was the topic of conversation throughout sports in general. To me, it was. Florida State is not in the college football playoff. Okay, so the question that we have is: did Florida State get robbed by the college football committee, and is it justifiable? So it's a two-part question because you could think they got robbed and you could justify it, or you could think they got robbed and not justify it, or you don't think they got robbed and justify. However you want to do it, because of the mic is yours to kick us off.
They got robbed, and I'm gonna justify it. Okay, they not justified. I'm sorry. They got robbed, and it's not justifiable. Okay, they're 13-0. Okay, you can't do this. We can't have this. We can't listen. I know Alabama. I know about the SEC. I know about the history of the SEC. I know they beat Georgia. I get all of that. You can't be undefeated and be out of the playoff. That don't make no sense. They 13-0. Bama is 12-1. I'm sorry you lost. I'm sorry. Right? Michigan is 13-0. Washington, I believe, is 13-0. They got Bama 12-1. Who's I'm missing somebody else.
They got Texas, Michigan.
Texas.
Yeah.
Texas is 12-1. Bama is 12-1. Michigan and Washington, right? If you want to kick somebody out, it can't be a 13-0 team. It got to be one of the 12-1 teams. Okay? So you got to come after one of those teams. It is an embarrassment. This is an indictment on college football. Clearly, we already talked about expansion of playoffs. I heard about that. They're going to 8 teams instead of 4 teams. I get all of that. But for this year, it's a shame that those students, that university, that institution, that football team, that coaching staff is going to be 13-0 and don't have an opportunity to win a championship? Are you kidding me? I don't care what they play on their schedule. I don't care how tough the SEC is. I don't care. You can't be 13-0. Why are we playing college football then? Play the SEC championship or something and have a different league. Let them win a championship somewhere else. I don't care about a different bowl game. I want a national championship. I want an opportunity to win a national championship. And by the way, they play in the ACC. Okay? So this is supposed to be one of the big star conferences. If you go undefeated in one of the big star conferences, you're supposed to be a Final Four. What the heck are we doing here? It's the Alabama bias, the SEC bias, and we got to get off that train. So what? We won't have Bama or Georgia in the national championship game. It's okay. You got to give this team an opportunity to put it on the line. And if they get smacked by somebody because they 13-0, then there it is. Change up the rules from inside out. Do not go through a duration of a season. Have a team. They playing over there. Hope Florida State lose. Hope Florida State lose. They playing over there. Then they don't lose. Well, we're going to leave them out anyway? That don't make any sense. Change the rules from inside out. Do not punish these kids because they are kids. Do not punish that coaching staff because that coaching staff worked hard. Do not punish that university because those fans came out to support their team. Okay? This is a team that won national championships, Florida State. This is a team that had Deion Sanders. Okay? This is a team that won championships in the recent year with what's the quarterback over here?
Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston won a national championship with this team not so long ago. This is a historical team. This is a team that got tradition. This ain't no low budget team. We don't know where they came from. No, they 13-0. Florida State, get them an opportunity to win a national championship. Get off this SEC bias.
Look, man, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I am. The college football committee robbed Florida State with an unlogical flex, and I'm gonna explain what I mean by that. Now, look, this had an opportunity to be listen, it's still robbery, regardless of how you look at it. But right. I could have rent the robbery, but justifiable had they maintained their logic. And I'm gonna explain everything in a minute, right? What? Because look, I understand they MO for all these years since the playoff has been in existence is to get the best 4 teams in the playoff. Right. That has been their main criteria. Of course, there's other criteria is you have to win a conference title, right? That's first, right? The eye test, a lot of those things, but the eye test was the main thing. The four best teams is in. And me, I'm a big eye test guy. I just don't go with wins and losses. Of course, wins and losses matter. You have to win. I'm not going to
Right.
put a team with a couple losses in. Eye test is everything, but it's not the only thing, but it's a lot. It's a big on my criteria. With my own two eyes, these are the four best teams in the playoff. Okay, fine. If you felt that Florida State was not amongst the four best teams because they lost their starting quarterback, Jordan Travis, right? And they didn't look great in that ACC championship. Yeah, they found a way to win, but let's be real, they didn't look great. Alabama had the best win that weekend, and you want to put Alabama ahead of Florida State? Fine. I have no problem with that. However, what they did defeats the logic. The problem that I have is that you still have Florida State over Georgia. That's the problem I had. You have Florida State over Georgia. Georgia only lost, okay, in the championship game, in the SEC championship game. That's their one loss, right? And you can make the argument that they are a better team than Florida State. So if we going by eye test, oh, I believe Alabama is better than Florida State. I have no problem with that. But okay, you don't think Georgia is better than Florida State? Because clearly they had the best loss in the whole entire four teams that made the playoff.
Clear.
Now, obviously, you have two undefeated teams there that never lost. But when you talk about Alabama and Georgia, Alabama got smoked by Texas, a team that's in the playoff. However, Alabama, who you put in there, will be the best loss because you put them in there. And they lost a close game in the SEC championship game. Mind you, Georgia didn't lose in like the last 2 years. So you don't even allow them to defend their crown. All right, fine. But if you want to put Florida State, behind Alabama, then you need to put them behind Georgia as well. So when we talk about logic, you got to look at everything from every example, right? Me, I'm big on eye tests, right? So when you talk about MVPs and all this, right, I'm going to go with my eyes. But at the same time, if my eyes is not winning, if the guy's not winning, I got to make sure I cover every single hole in my argument. I can't leave a hole open. And they left the hole wide open. Like, look at this. You don't think Georgia's better than Florida State? So if you're going to move Alabama ahead, then you need to move Georgia ahead. And Florida State needs to literally be 6 or 7 if you're going to go with that logic. But once again, when you talk about the college football committee, I don't care what nobody tell me. There's a lot of bias. Okay, some of my biggest debates in all the sports. Okay, I remember that day in college, I was arguing about Penn State and Ohio State, who should get in. And Penn State had the head-to-head of Ohio State, but somehow Ohio State got in. Okay, now there's the SEC bias going on over here, and that's perception. A lot of people don't realize that, in places of power, right, there's no accountability, and the way how you are treated is perception, right? The cops, I'm gonna stop a black man today. You know what I'm saying? Because he may be up to something. Yeah, he may have his headphones in, but he ain't doing nothing. But maybe he's going to do something. Let me stop this guy. Okay. And I'm only talking about some cops here. I don't want to generalize everybody because I got cops friends, right? I don't mean you, Shane. Okay, you my guy. Okay, we grew up together, and I don't mean you either, right? I mean that guy, not that guy. Okay, make that clear. Okay, let me stop this black man today, right? Who else am I missing? Like other, higher up an interview for a job. Right? Oh, yeah, the shirt is a little rough dry, man. Maybe this guy ain't built for the job because his shirt, he missed a little fleece here. They could have ironed out. You know what I'm saying? Perception. So the perception of the SEC being the inferior conference, even though the ACC was 6-4 against the SEC this year. So what they did was robbery, clearly. It was always going to be robbery. However, if you wanted to maneuver that and say, listen, my eyes tell me Alabama is better than Florida State, then you should have had Georgia over Florida State, because you can't tell me with a straight face that Georgia is better or not better than Florida State, who you have ahead of Georgia.
Yeah, they got robbed. It's not justifiable. They got to change these rules. When you can't have a clear-cut national champion, it's problematic. Okay, this is an easy fix, and they got to fix it. Because here it is, Florida State go ahead and go undefeated, go 14-0 win a bowl game. And you're going to sit up and tell that team they're not a national champion. It's a crime by itself.
It goes back to what we was talking about. There's a word that you said in the last topic about mentality problem. It goes back to the mentality problem. the mentality of, okay, quarterback play, that's the Hollywood actor, right? That's the guy that's going to make or break the movie. If Denzel's not in the movie, if Will Smith is not in the movie, then it's not a good movie. I'm not going to waste my time. Mentality. There are a lot of good movies without Denzel Washington. There's a lot of good movies without Will Smith. I didn't see some of the best movies without them two characters.
Clear.
And I've seen good movies with those two characters, obviously. That's why they them. But my point being, mentality problem. I don't believe Florida State is going to fare well because they don't have their quarterback. So there's no other way they can win the game. They can't win the game off special teams. They can't win the game off defense. They can't win the game of running the football. They can't be well coached. They can't outcoach the other coach. They have to win with a quarterback, and that quarterback is not there. They're going to be a TCU from last year that gets smoked in the national championship in front of everybody for the world to see. That's going to be them. So you know what? I'm going to leave them out. Mentality problem. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
And when you leave the decision to decide the fates of schools in the hands of individual, you cannot tell me there's no bias. There's no mentality problem with that. That's why I think personally, as much as we could come back at the computers, the BCS format, where the computers pick the two best teams, maybe that was better. You know what I'm saying? I understand the computers are not humans, right? But they had their things. They had the eye test. They had their criteria, and they rolled with that. They didn't switch it up. You know what I'm saying? The computers ain't going to switch nothing up. They're going to literally put it in the system. This is the best two teams.
Listen, when you look at criteria, man, when you ask somebody to go out and play football and win every game and the hopes to win a national championship, but now they can't even pursue it, and they did everything they were supposed to do, it's the most disheartening thing that you can do to any sports entity. I don't care if it's college or professional. How the heck I'm undefeated and I can't compete for a championship? That just sounds wrong at the highest of levels.
I do want to make things clear. If it was the computers, more than likely Michigan and Texas, I believe, would have been the two teams that would have, Michigan and Washington would have been the two teams that would have played in the national championship.
13,
but look, man, I don't think they should increase this to 12. That's going to be the new thing. Maybe this is,
they're supposed to go to 8.
Maybe they did this strategically to jumpstart that 12-team playoff or whatever, get that into fruition or whatever. But, we'll see.
Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, or leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.